Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of May, 2025, and I'm Gianni DePoce, your host. We are seeing stocks mixed a little bit today, but the big news, of course, is Bitcoin rallying to a new all-time high. In the cash market, we saw a record closing high in both cash and futures yesterday. So let's go ahead and jump into it and see what's going on across various markets. We're in a really important geocosmic time band right now because we're coming off of that Sun-Uranus conjunction from the weekend, and then tomorrow we have Venus trine Mars. And that's important because it's a pretty harmonious aspect. And so we're going to be looking at the potential for reversals in many markets, but also we have to be alert for breakouts. And I think it may have started already in crypto. We'll look at that in a moment. Looking to this weekend on the 24th, we have Saturn joining the other outer planetary ingresses, the other outer planets that are moving signs this year. Saturn will be, of course, moving into the sign of Aries and moving into that orb of a conjunction with Neptune. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And the same day, the Sun will form a trine to Pluto as well. But we saw the Dow start off the week on a strong note. It's since been giving back some of its gains. It is off the lows of the day. It's interesting to point out that we did take out this high in the cash market for Dow from the 26th of March. So we do have a technical higher high in effect now, but the Dow futures did not. That being said, we have seen both the Nasdaq futures and the S&P futures hit a new high, taking out that high from March 25th in the case of the Nasdaq 100. You can see here once again today, tremendous leadership from the tech sector and even semiconductors. If you take a look at that, look at the semiconductor index, there's also the ETF SMH. Good things happening there. Now, I mentioned how Saturn's going to be going into Aries this weekend. Well, I also want to bring your attention to the final outer planetary transit ingress that we have later this year on the 7th of July. And that's going to be Uranus moving into Gemini. And I'm especially interested in that because we have a loose trine taking place. Not an exact, but it's going to be an orb, a trine between Uranus and Pluto. Uranus, of course, will be in Gemini. Pluto is in Aquarius. And so Uranus trine Pluto. The last time we had that was during the Roaring 20s. And a lot of technological innovations came about. So we're seeing big moves happen in semiconductors. You can see here that the rally in semiconductors from that low was so far, over 45%. That's pretty impressive. There's also tremendous things happening in the quantum computing space. Obviously, we had Cryptodamus on last week talking about that as well. But Uranus trine Pluto, something to keep a very close watch on, I think, for the tech sector overall. And it should be a tailwind for the NASDAQ especially. Now, we're also watching the bond market here because bonds continue to sell off. We do have a really interesting signal whereby the 30-year bond has taken out that low from the 11th of April, but the 10-year note has not. So we're watching this, especially as we head into this aspect with Pluto over the weekend, potential for a reversal. In currency markets, the dollar continues to lose against both the yen and the euro. And I think this is really the signal of a larger political realignment taking place because normally it works this way. The country that has the higher interest rates has a stronger currency. Well, the US and the dollar has higher interest rates than both the euro and the Japanese yen. So right now it seems like there's this seems to be part of the trade deal puzzle that's going on right now. So I would definitely keep a watch on that. Both gold and silver seeing pretty strong bids. Looks like gold's in the final phase of its cycle now. No big Neptune aspects coming up immediately, so this tells us we could be closer to the end. I'm definitely intrigued by the setup here in silver, and so what I'm looking for now is actually for silver to assume leadership and start outperforming gold, both on a technical and percentage basis. You usually see that in the later stages of the cycle, and it's a warning sign that downside risks are rising in time, even though right now bulls seem to have the advantage and the initiative. Take a look at crude oil. Looks like we nailed another lower high there. Still looking for a little bit more downside. And, in theory, this should be a tailwind for bond prices, which just cannot seem to sustain a rally here. But as Puyan's been talking about, we are looking for a big bottom in the energy market this year. Totally with him on that. And especially, perhaps it could be later this year when Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces. However, you're going to have a conjunction between Neptune and Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So perhaps that's the catalyst from an aspect standpoint for a bottom. We'll have to keep an eye on that, of course. And I saved the best for last. Bitcoin. Did we hit new all-time highs? Cash new all-time highs. The futures, last I checked, we were within a spitting distance of doing so. Very strong bullish breakout. I'm especially keeping my eyes on the Venus ingress into Taurus on June 6th. Bitcoin likes Venus and Taurus. Usually we see 20% or greater moves, but it could be either way. So if we're breaking out now, maybe we get a pullback around that time after June 6th. So I'm watching this now, but this looks very strong technically, as new all-time highs tend to be. Also, don't sleep on Ethereum, which is coming out of a intermediate cycle low as well. And if Ethereum, gets above 2,800, I could really see it back closer to 4,000 sooner than later. So that's what I had for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you didn't see the video already, Ali Schneider interviewed me yesterday talking about the 6-week introductory financial astrology course that we will be having here at MMA starting on May 31st. It's a 6-week program. We're taking 1 week off for the 4th of July holiday, and then we're going to wrap it up the following week. So it's 6 weeks long, taking you through the basic and intermediate understanding of astrology, especially through a financial and economic lens. So strongly encourage you all to check that out. You can find the details at yesterday's video, but also on our website at www.mmacycles.com. The monthly Shanghai and the monthly tech report were just issued this week as well. Stay tuned for the monthly addendum plus and the monthly grains report, which will be released shortly. And of course, the Merriman Market Timing Academy is open for enrollment. That will begin on the 27th of September. And that's all for now. All the details can be found at www.mmacycles.com. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like